A Sunday evening, Joe and Joe weather show, as we have relatively calm conditions in the eastern part of the United States. However, severe weather is going to be revving up this week in the Mississippi Valley. The first winter storm warnings and even some blizzard warnings have gone up. And of course, it's all in the west, from the northern plains to the west coast. We'll talk all about that and much more tonight on the Sunday night Joe and Joe Weather Show, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Spring mode here. Topsoil, sand, and mulch. Everything to make your home look like a botanical garden, and your business too. 631-756-1125. Can't find better prices anywhere. The website is
OmniTrueValue.com. Ta-da!
Ta-da! All right, you know what? I got to fix this. Hold on a second.
What do you have to fix?
Oh, I just got to move you over to the other side.
Oh.
And then I got to, whoops, cancel. I almost left the meeting. Shows you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Joe is gone.
No, Joe's right here. On this Sunday, Palm Sunday, a day that I can remember a lot of Palm Sundays that were windy and cold. So this one kind of fit the bill, at least up in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states. Gorgeous day here in Northeast Georgia, ahead of some rain that's coming tomorrow. Not a cloud in the sky. It made up to the upper 60s this afternoon. Just an absolutely beautiful day. But it looks like we're going to have another busy week ahead with severe weather in the Mississippi, up and down the entire Mississippi Valley. SPC already sounding the alert there. And we've got all sorts of other things going on as well.
Well, it fits the bill. Did you know that according to a meteorological study, and I learned this from a book by David Ludlam, that the month of April is the stormiest month? And if you look at things, Joe, from the standpoint of weather, we have not one, not two, but three active storm tracks. One that basically is along the Atlantic seaboard, another is the Alberta Clipper track, and a third is the Colorado Low track. And all three of these storm tracks are active now this month, providing in their own way, shape, and form different types of weather, and sometimes even severe weather. And my goodness, we certainly up here in the tri-state area had our fair share of severe weather. They're all talking about the Midwest and the South, and I can understand that, but don't look aside of the damage that was done last night in parts of central New Jersey, Ocean County, Burlington, Monmouth County, even down in northern Delaware, where some king-sized storms moved on through. I had not had a chance today to look at the National Weather Service websites to see whether or not any of the storms in Delaware and New Jersey were officially declared a tornado.
Two so far out of four. They were looking at four. They confirmed two. One in Burlington County and Cinnaminson, New Jersey. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the other one in Delaware. The one in New Jersey was an EF1,
right?
I believe. I haven't seen the numbers on the other one. I would actually like to see, you know what number I'd like to see, at least from the standpoint of my own memory, is the number of tornadoes that have occurred in New Jersey in the last 3 years. I wonder if you add them up, or let's give it a bigger range. Let's say in the last 5 years. If you add up all the tornadoes that have occurred in New Jersey in the last 5 years, I bet you that number supersedes the number of tornadoes in the prior 30 or 35 years before that. It's just been an absolutely astounding last few years with tornadoes in New Jersey and also in some of the surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's been incredible. They've had their fair share. And last night, you just said it was an EF1. I can't even imagine what it would be like if it were an EF2 or 3. Because the damage that was done to some of these homes, some of these trees that landed on the homes, is just incredible, just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, Mike Gazzara says it's 4 in New Jersey now. I just looked at the weather, the Mount Holly website. They only had a public information statement on one of them, and one in Delaware. Just got this from NBC in Philadelphia. So, yeah, well, they'll probably have something out tomorrow. Being it's a Sunday, was probably a little bit tougher to get all the information in so short a time. But particularly, I mean, I don't know how many investigative teams they have to go out and look at these things. They only have one or at most two. But meanwhile, the Mississippi Valley again looks like it's going to take a big hit. We've got blizzard warnings up in the plains again. We have winter storm warnings up in the west again. Another Colorado low. So that's what we're probably going to see this time around, only that it tracks a little bit further to the west. The one yesterday, the one from Friday and Saturday, that sort of moved east-northeast from the northern plains across the lakes and then up into southeastern Canada right along the Canadian border. This one looks like it's going to hook a little bit further to the west. So I wonder whether that probably means that we may not have a threat late this week like the one we saw yesterday.
Well, I will say that from an SPC that they do have on day 4 an area outlined not too far away to our north and west, covering the Great Lakes. So
I didn't see that.
And so maybe, just maybe, we might get into some action midweek, although I was thinking more along the lines of a sharp weather front moving through on late Thursday or Thursday night, bringing us the possibility for significant weather here. And then after that, the good news is that for Friday, Good Friday, and it looks like for next weekend, Easter weekend, the weather will be just fine. Big high pressure system in control. Was concerned that it was going to lose a little bit of its grip on us on Easter Sunday and possibly some showers would invade our area, but that does not look like it's going to be the case now, at least in this forecaster's opinion. It looks like next weekend will be a nice weekend. It'll be a bit on the coolish side, but still nice. And again, the only real problem that I could foresee for next week, Joe, is again, with that front coming in later Thursday and Thursday night, bringing the possibility for showers and maybe a few thunderbusters.
Would you say that Tuesday this week will probably be the best day in terms of temperatures? And I kind of thought maybe Tuesday would be the best day.
You know, I would say that's going to be hard to say because I think some kind of a front is going to be lying literally right across. And this is like this goes back to the days of Tex Antoine when old Tex was doing the weather on television back in the 50s and 60s. He sometimes made reference to the 125th Street cold front or the 125th Street front that would get down to 125th Street and then just sit there. And it looks like to me that we may just have a front that's going to be lying more or less over or just north of New York City on Tuesday. And well, I guess if we have enough sunshine, places south of the front may see temperatures warm up quite nicely, but places north of the front may have to battle with clouds, may have to battle with even a chance for some precipitation and maybe even a coolish wind out of a northerly or northwesterly direction. So we'll see.
Welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight to this Sunday evening Joe and Joe weather show. Usually we're on at 11 a.m., but because we did a show last night, we decided to move this one to tonight so that the two shows wouldn't be so close together. So I don't know, that strategy may not have worked because we have fewer people on right now than we normally have on a Sunday morning. But no matter, great to see everybody, a lot of our regulars on the chat board tonight. And for those of you who are lurking in the background for the first time, welcome to the show. You can join in the conversation, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can watch the Joe and Joe Weather Show, which airs Monday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. Not anticipating any change of schedules this week, unless you've got something going for Easter Sunday, Joe. I don't think I have.
Well,
at least not yet.
I do have something on Thursday, and I'm not sure if he's on the board tonight. I think he is. One of our regulars. Dennis Cassie is going to be inducted into the Connecticut Firefighters Hall of Fame on Thursday evening. And Renata and I will be there to watch as Dennis gets his just desserts, so to speak.
Okay. So then maybe I'll be soloing on Thursday, is what you're trying to tell me.
Yes, yes.
All right. Gotcha. The chairman, Scott Briller, on the board tonight. Thanks. Good to see you, Scott. And hope Mother Briller is doing well. Thanks for hitting the tip jar, the super chat tip jar. And again, all our best wishes to your mom, and hope she gets better soon. A big hello, a big wave to Mother Briller.
Yay!
All right, let's do some weather here and go to the watches and warnings that are up for tonight. And there's a whole slew of them. We've got. Let me get my lovely little face out of the way here, and we can go move on. We've got the first blizzard warnings are up for western South Dakota and a few counties in northern Nebraska. Winter storm watches surrounding that from Nebraska up to North Dakota and Minnesota. Winter storm warnings cover 3/4 of the state of Wyoming. A couple of winter storm warnings in Colorado, a bunch of them in Utah. A few of them actually one big county in northeast Nevada is under a winter storm warning. Winter weather advisory surrounding those. And we've got winter storm warnings up the coastal range and also up in Oregon and up the Cascades into Washington. Various winter storm watches up in parts of Northern California, advisories on the coastal range, and also in parts of the Sierra Nevadas. Lots of high wind warnings across Southern California, New Mexico, Arizona. Where it's not a high wind warning, it's a wind advisory. Also in Nevada, Central and Southern California, a lot of wind advisories there. Some high wind warnings in southeastern Utah. We've got a severe we got a tornado watch that's up right now in much of north central and northeast Texas. I believe the Dallas-Fort Worth area is covered in that. And the light blue that you see in southeast Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey, since the growing season, probably could argue that the growing season started probably back in February, the way the last couple of months of winter have gone. But they do have frost advisories and even a few frost warnings for a few of the counties. One, it looks like Mercer County there in New Jersey, and another one in southeast PA. And I just want to go to the Storm Prediction Center, jump right to Tuesday, where we have an enhanced risk of severe weather already posted for northern Missouri, much of north central and northwestern Illinois, southeastern Iowa. Then there's a little break, and then a second area of enhancement in southern southeast Missouri, across the state of Arkansas into northeast Texas. And I'm thinking that this will probably wind up being another very busy day for SPC, who said it yesterday and I'll say it again today. They did an absolute bang-up job, terrific job with the severe weather the other night. Just on the fact that they had divided the two high-risk areas, and they did those pretty much perfectly. So there are the two. Actually, there are two working tornado watches up. In north central and northeastern Texas. A new one just popped up that extends into northwestern Louisiana. This new watch is in effect until 2 a.m. And I can't see where the prior watch is. The prior watch is in effect until midnight. And I got to get my head around Greenwich Mean Time and daylight saving time, just remembering that it's 5 hours now and not 4. We have on day, as we said, so this is day 3 that we have the enhanced risk that I showed you a little while ago. So this has time for them to probably add. I wouldn't be surprised if we wind up with a couple of areas of moderate or maybe one area of moderate risk before this is all said and done. Here's Joe's day 4. So this is Wednesday into Thursday, covering western New York, northwest PA, Ohio, eastern Indiana, and the eastern half of Michigan. under 15%, which equates to a slight risk possibility in that area. So I imagine there'll be a marginal risk on either side of that. And then I know I'm kind of jumping around. This is for Monday into Tuesday. So this is for tomorrow, where we have a marginal risk from southwest Georgia, northwestward into Mississippi for isolated severe thunderstorms, also in north central Texas and into Oklahoma, northern Missouri across Illinois into Indiana. And that comes with two areas. The southern marginal risks, Joe, have 2% tornado risk. So kind of a little bit of a lull here with regards to the severe weather, although we do have enhanced risk tonight. I should make a note of this. We do have enhanced risk tonight in north central Texas, where we've got those tornado watches at work. A little bit of a lull tomorrow, picks up again on Tuesday, and then we'll see how much of that carries over into the east on Wednesday.
Well, it was certainly and I guess, Joe, that day 4 that you and I both mentioned, that is going to be actually associated or affiliated with the frontal passage that I was alluding to for later this Thursday, Maundy Thursday, if you will. That could again set the stage for us here in our neck of the woods here in the Northeast for another severe outbreak. Remember the one that we had yesterday, several days out, looked interesting, but they didn't really have anything posted for our area. And then we saw it go from, a threat for general thunderstorms to a threat for marginal risk for severe to actually slight risk to severe, and then eventually peaked at an enhanced threat of severe during the late day hours of Friday into yesterday. So these things build slowly with time from the folks at SPC. So maybe, just maybe, we'll have another very interesting or active day on Thursday of this week.
Yeah, I got the loop up, and of course the weather was beautiful for much of the eastern part of the United States. A little bit of blow-off cloudiness crossing the lower Gulf states, southern Georgia, northern Florida, some high cloud blow-off from this disturbance that is now moving through north central Texas. Lots of lightning strikes going on this evening there. And of course, you see the Pacific moisture that's piling in to the northwest, and now also starting to spread into the northern plains with the next weather system that's coming in. Quick check of the radar in the east. It's quick because there's not much going on, if anything at all. But the radars are pretty quiet. A little bit of light precip aloft in southern Georgia and into Alabama. But here's that complex that we're talking about with the tornado watches that are up for north central Texas into Louisiana. And we've got, it looks like, 5 or 6? It was 6, and then that's 5. It keeps jumping around with the severe thunderstorm warnings that are up. There's one lone tornado warning that shows up there in Texas, just not too far from the interstate. I forgot the interstate number that goes from Houston to Dallas-Fort Worth, but right along about maybe 5/8 of the way up, you've got a tornado warning there. Might as well go to Tornado HQ and see exactly where this is. And let's see. So that tornado is in Freestone and Leon counties in Texas. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 8 miles west of Buffalo, Texas, or 11 miles southeast of Teague, Texas, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. And folks, remember, if you're watching this on a replay, we're on live tonight from 7 p.m. on, probably till a little bit before 8 o'clock. So it's 7:22 p.m. Eastern time. If you're following severe weather and you're watching this show, please remember that what you're seeing is obviously dated. So you want to go to weather.gov to make sure you get all the latest weather information regarding severe weather in your neck of the woods. It's certainly not as busy as it was yesterday, radar-wise.
Yes. It's forget anybody who was with us yesterday, Joe, knows very well that literally, and we bow to our friends in the chat board who were some of them were providing us with breaking news on tornado warnings that were going up. And it's interesting. After we finished last night, I went to the television room here in my home to settle in and watch the annual presentation of the Ten Commandments. And just that, first of all, it was hard to concentrate because ABC was running a crawl, and it was a constant crawl and making noise like boop, boop, boop. And then at one particular point, right at the point, I think just before Charlton Heston was to grab one of the characters, Vincent Price.
Vincent Twice. Yes.
Vincent Price. He's about to grab Vincent Price, and I think is getting ready to kill him in the movie. And just at that climactic point arrived, all of a sudden, up on the screen pops Jeff Smith from ABC Eyewitness News to give, and of course, naturally, you have to do this. I mean, with so many tornado warnings overlapping each other in New Jersey, and with the mayhem that was going on in central New Jersey. But I said to myself, right at the one of the most critical parts of the movie, boom, we have Jeff Smith with the tornado warning coming on. It was a very, very, as you just alluded to, very active night here, and also on television, and a lot of things were going on. And you're absolutely right. Compared to last night, tonight is a picnic. It's nothing, hardly anything to talk about locally, except talk about what's going to be happening out in the Western U.S. Some of you may remember Gene Shepard, who used to be on WOR radio at night, the great humorist on radio. And he wrote a book describing what he referred to as a Wyoming screamer, a blizzard with tremendous winds and heavy snow. And Joe, it would appear that we are going to have a Wyoming screamer on the maps by, if not late tomorrow, but on Tuesday, the latest in a seemingly endless series of storms that again has been hitting the western half of the nation.
And speaking of which, the radars are getting a bit busier out there in the Northwest. And you can see it. I have it on the screen here. And as far as snow is concerned, the digital forecast, I preloaded it, and we're looking at some really hefty snow amounts in Wyoming, where the blizzard warnings are up in South Dakota. We're looking at 18 to 24 in Wyoming. It's in that yellow zone. That's 30 inches or more. In southeastern Wyoming, also in northern Utah. In fact, Joe, I don't know what point that is, not too far from Salt Lake, but it must be some elevated area. I just saw like a humongous number here. I must be seeing things. Let's see if I get really close. I thought I saw a number bigger. My eyes are playing tricks on me, but certainly you could see all that yellow is at least 32 inches. And the bright yellow would be at least 35. So that's the highest it goes on the scale. So we're talking about some 3-foot snows between Provo and Salt Lake City. Also, again, going into southeastern Wyoming, I-25 is cutting right through that. Casper is at a 20-inch bullseye there. There's a 26. I don't know what town that is. And there's a 31 along US 18. Going northward. So big snows for sure. And Pierre, South Dakota, 19. Rapid City is on the edge of, is got a 24 print for them. And wow. These numbers are pretty high going even into North Dakota. Bismarck, 13, 17 for Grand Forks. So, if you think back to the winter of 95, 96 for the eastern part of the United States, it was right. I mean, we had snow events that year through the middle part of April, even down at the coast. That was a winter. It was what's happened in the West this year. That happened in the East in 95, 96. So these kind of winters are probably once in 30 year, once in 40 year type events. But when they get like this, both in both the, this winter, and then of course again in the winter of 95, 96 for the eastern part of the United States, it was really unrelenting. The first snows fell right after Thanksgiving, and the last snows didn't fall until the middle of April. And it was one after another, and they were all sizable snowfalls. There were no small snowfalls during that winter. They were all sizable, 10-inch plus producers. So, these kind of winters, you watch in amazement. I mean, to me, this whole thing, the way it's set up for the West this year was just utterly amazing. But don't be shocked if next winter or the winter after that, they're going to have one of these winters where they'll be begging for snow, because that also happens as well. And that's when the East will do well.
And speaking of doing well here in the East, I think Ken Musillo on the chat board brought this up near the beginning of the show, that on this day, just 5 years ago, how many of you have memories of 5 years ago? It was a Monday, the 2nd of April. A heavy, wet snow fell between 5 and 10 a.m., accumulating in Central Park now, accumulating 5.5 inches, the biggest snowfall in April since the blizzard of 1982, April 6th. And like the snowfalls of in 2018 of February 17th of 2018 and March the 9th of 2018, the temperature during the snowfall remained above freezing. The fifth snowfall, I might add, of 4 inches or more in 2018, each occurring in a different month. And the snow that fell on this day in 2018 brought the season total, yes. What did we have for this year, Joe, at Central Park? What, 2.4 inches or something like that?
Right.
On this day in 2018, we went over 40 inches. We had a season total after today's storm in 2018 of 40.9 inches, and this was the 9th season in the past 16 with 40 inches or more, the average snowfall for New York. Well, from what I'm reading here, I think this is off, because we know that based upon the most recent 30-year averages, it's closer to 30 or 31. It says here 25.8.
Now,
it's much higher than that now.
Right, before we got the fresh decade in, when they updated the normals in 2020, it was the prior 30 was 25. The prior 30 before that was 20. And then, it was back to 30 when you get back to the 60s and so on, when the 60s were part of the equation. Those were, and the city snowfall, you could easily say the snow amounts in some of the surrounding areas for those seasons was double in some areas. So you get long stretches like that, then you get stretches like this. It just happens. Interestingly enough, since we just have this system for Friday and Saturday, and since the GFS on tropical tidbits, you can actually go back 72 hours. This is perfect for us, because you can see clearly what the difference is going to be, and perhaps this argues against, as much as there's similarity to this in the West, how this system is going to come out in the East is a little bit different. So this was the system for late last week, and you see the upper low that forms there in Wyoming and Nebraska and deepens. You also see just to be outline this for you. So you've got this strong west to east jet running through southern Canada. So this upper low did not really get an opportunity to go northeastward. It basically just kind of moved along underneath that westerly flow in southern Canada and stayed very vigorous. And here you have the trough moving into the Great Lakes, and then it opened up, and you have a really sharp V-shaped shortwave that came through yesterday evening and produced the thunderstorms that we got. Now let's set up the next one, and you'll see this next upper low diving down Monday morning in Oregon and Washington, drops down over Utah, swings into eastern Wyoming, and then into South Dakota. But unlike what just happened, there is no strong west to east jet across southern Canada. So this system is going to be able to lift northeastward and track much further to the west. And that's exactly what it does. The upper low goes across South and North Dakota into Minnesota, and then eventually heads up toward Lake Winnipeg. You do not have, there's a little shortwave. The bottom of that is kind of crossing, near down to almost to about Lake Ontario, but you don't have any kind of vigorous shortwave this time around. So I would say that this probably argues against. This is going to be not going to be I don't think we're going to see a widespread severe weather event from the next cold front with this system coming out of the Rockies. But no doubt about it, this is a very vigorous upper trough, and they're going to get those big snows that they're advertising there. Not a whole lot showing up here, but when I'm moving forward, after that goes by, we're kind of in a flattish west to east flow on Saturday. Some kind of weak system Saturday moves through New England, and then there's a little upper low that forms down in the Gulf states, but the model's beginning to argue with the idea, at least this run is, where you're going to get a phasing trough, but that happens Monday of next week, so after Easter. So maybe we'll get some rain in on Monday with this, troughing that wants to drop into the eastern part of the United States and sharpen up. So if the timing is right, yeah, next weekend should be okay. Particularly Saturday and probably Sunday should be fine too.
Right. So no Easter snowstorm this year, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
there was some rumors. There was some rumors about there might be something like that, but it ain't happening.
The silly European was just doing what it was doing all winter, which was throw up snowstorms from the day 8 to day 10 time frame. In the day 8 to day 10 time frame, which amounted to nothing. So, it's gone now. It doesn't show much of anything with respect to that. So here's what the GFS looks like on the radar, on its radar presentation. So yeah, there's this is for tomorrow. We'll should see some temperatures bounce up tomorrow. Wind goes southwest. Yeah, there's a little back door that's across upstate New York. If you look at the GFS, Joe, it never really makes it. Maybe gets to about Route 84 and comes to a grinding halt. And then after that, of course, you've got the deep low that you can see what happens out in the west, where you've got this low in Utah and into Colorado, and then it intensifies and moves northeastward. The severe weather risk, this is Tuesday night, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, pretty much, where SPC's got the enhanced risk drawn. And then Wednesday, and it looks like maybe some showers go by to the northwest through upstate New York because we're still in a ridge position. And Thursday, we've got the front on top of us. Maybe some showers there on Thursday. Then that goes out. But then Friday looks okay. You see that moisture down in the south. This is Easter Sunday. Looks fine. Maybe some clouds coming in later in the day. And then it's got some rain coming in during Sunday night into Monday. And then it's got a wrapped up 978 low near Philadelphia Tuesday morning with snows in western PA and western New York. Have at it, folks.
Yeah, it has been. It's been quite active, no question about that. So what else can we talk about, Joe?
Well, I do have something. I want to bring up, and I think it's something that my suspicion is that if my initial suspicion is that you probably won't like this, but on the other hand, like SPC, NHC, the Hurricane Center, has gotten a lot better with picking up on storms developing in the future. So I was reading yesterday that the tropical weather outlook, which right now has a 2-day outlook and then a 5-day outlook, is now going to go to a 2-day outlook and a 7-day outlook.
I
had a suspicion you probably wouldn't like it.
No, I don't. I don't.
Well, their logic, and I kind of understand it. Their logic is the logic behind it is that people seem to want that information out for a slightly longer time frame than 5 days, particularly when it comes to hurricanes in the regions in the southeast and Florida and the Gulf Coast. I don't think those people would mind. Apparently didn't, there was kind of a clamoring for, can you go out a little bit more than 5 days? So they figured that 7 would accommodate folks a bit better than 5, so people can plan out a whole week.
Oh, why don't we go even further? Let's go out 10 days or 15 days. They could be like
Yeah, no.
They could be like News 12 with the 10-day forecast.
Yeah, no.
That's
I'm not okay. If they went beyond 7, I'd have a problem with it. I think they can handle. I think they will be able to handle 7 in a good way, the way they handle the 5. Putting 2 extra days on it, I don't think is going to be too big a deal. But if they went out to 10 days or 2 weeks, no, I would not be. I would not support that. Let's put it that way. Yes. As if our votes count, because after all, I'm sure NHC's folks right now are all glued to their sets watching the Joe and Joe Weather Show, just as SPC's folks are sitting here watching, and WPC. I mean, they certainly don't. They certainly wait for me to put up my stuff so that as soon as I do, they go ahead and change it. Especially because if I use their maps, so
it's one hand washes the other,
and both hands wash the face.
Yes,
that's correct. So let's. I have a Briller Jeopardy here somewhere.
Well, so do I actually. So
all right. So you know what? I'm not in the mood to ask the questions. I'm in the mood to answer them. So why don't you do yours, and then I'll save the one that Scott gave me. I will save for tomorrow, and that is going to deal with the extremes for the month of April. In New York City. So you can go ahead first.
Well, tonight, Briller Jeopardy, the average high temperature, no extremes, the average high temperature in April for 5 different cities. And he also wants to thank me for the shout out that I gave about Briller Jeopardy on the podcast from a few nights ago. He says that Mother Briller also appreciated it very much as well. So,
wonderful.
So here we are, 5 cities, the average.
Right, before you do that, Leon Probitsky hitting Super Chat tonight. Thank you, Leon, for throwing some coin in the tip jar. And everybody on the chat board, play along. If you're watching, you just have to hit the subscribe button, and then you can get on the chat board and you can play along as well. If you're shy, I get that. You can play quietly by yourself and see how well you do. And we're at 72 likes, so it would be wonderful if enough of you hit the like button to get us over 100 likes while we do Briller Jeopardy. So get that 72 up closer to 100, or get it over 100 while we do this.
Okay. So here we are. We have on Briller Jeopardy tonight again. 5 cities, the average high temperature for each city. And we'll start with in April. So the average April high temperature for Atlanta, Joe.
Oh, you know what? It's sad because I do live here, and my friends at the dog park kid around with me because I'm so focused on weather going on in the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic states, which is where I'm from. That I seldom check. I don't know very much about
Atlanta.
The stats here in Atlanta, other than the fact that I know that I'm about 5 to 7 degrees cooler where I am, and that it gets cold up here at night. Okay, in the mountains.
Well, let's see. We have so many people on the chat board with their guesses.
All right, I'm gonna hold on a second. Let me go ahead. You keep talking. I'm gonna do a little math here.
Okay, Jacqueline Baxter came up with 72. Ms. Spallerite 76. Howard A 72. Still looking for a winner here, folks.
This is the average temperature, Joe, or the average high temperature?
The average high temperature. Average high temperature in April.
All right, so I'm going to say 72.
Okay, you said 72. Some real cool readings. Anthony Sparaccio, 55? No. Latex Dream, 68. 79 from Daniel Overton for Atlanta? No. 73 from Leon Probitsky? No. Coin Pig says 25. Coin Pig get off of this.
No, he may mean
Lord.
coin pig. Coin pig is he's in England, so they could be meaning Celsius. So that's 77.
Sorry about that, Coin Pig.
I saved you, Coin Pig. It's because I love you.
Rich Romansky.
He even said, "Oh wait, in degrees Fahrenheit, 77."
77. No, a lot of people have been dancing around, but have not hit the temperature, which is, ladies and gentlemen, 74 degrees.
74. Okay, I only missed it by 2.
The next one is Boston, Beantown. The average high temperature in April in Boston, which, by the way, in 1997, on the 1st of April, Boston had 25 inches of snow. Remember that? The April Fool's storm in 1997.
I'll say.
What is the average high temperature in Boston?
I'll say 60.
You'll say 60?
For the month.
All right. Well, you're not going to get it. Howard A, 57. Latex Stream, 65. Sal Patchy says 57. Jacqueline Baxter, 52. Now, normally we get people who hit it, and we haven't had anybody yet. Northern Grace, Double Nickels, your favorite commentary on weather, Joe, 55, but that's not it. Anthony Sparaccio, 58. Rick Romansky, 55. Debbie Carroll, 61.
Patrick Darcy, 56.
56 for Patrick Darcy, and he did it. He hit. That's it. The correct average high temperature for Boston, 56 degrees.
Folks, just to let you know, it's the whole month, okay? So in Boston, for example, for New York City as well, the temperature at the end of the month is probably 12 or 13 degrees higher than it is. The normal is probably 12 or 13 degrees higher than it is than at the beginning of the month. So you got to sort of factor that.
Right.
You want to pick a number somewhere around, figure April 15th.
Right.
Mail in your taxes and and write on your tax form the average high temperature of where you live. I'm sure the IRS would appreciate that.
In fact, I used the Dvoskinism yesterday on my Facebook page, Joe. You may have seen it. I'm not sure. April, this is from our dear friend Norm Dvoskin. April is a good month because the weather gets warm just about the same time that the IRS is about to take the shirt off your back.
Right, exactly. We're at 84 likes. 16 to go, folks, to get us to 100. 16 to go.
For that joke, I'm surprised not taking 14 off of the thumbs up for that. Anyway, Charlotte, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Average April high temperature. You know, why is it, Joe, that on the Andy Griffith Show, they mentioned a number of different places in North Carolina? They never seem to mention Charlotte.
No, they mentioned Raleigh.
Right.
You know, Charlotte, it's only, I think Charlotte, it's only in the last maybe 30 years or so that it's really grown to be the major city that it is.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was at the time of the Andy Griffith Show. It was certainly smaller than Raleigh-Durham, was. And Raleigh was the state capital. So I'm going to say 60. I'm going to say 67 for Charlotte.
Well, we already have winners. We have Leon Probitsky and Ms. Spallerite. They hit it right on the nose 72. At 72.
Really?
72.
Oh, all right. I would have thought it would have been a little bit lower than that. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay, next.
Number 4, Buffalo.
Buffalo, New York?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I always kind of mess up on Buffalo. Let's see. Oh, I'll say 56.
Okay. Guess what?
What?
Miss Spallerite did it again.
55.
55.
Well, 56 was not a bad guess.
No, I know. It's not. If Price is Right rules, you would have gone over, but still not bad.
Well, Anthony Sparaccio and Patrick Darcy both picking 55. Excellent. 12 likes to go to 100.
By the way, on the chat board, Christiapedia, going to be chilly at the eclipse next year on April 8th. I am working right now, all through this weekend. I have been working on an article for space.com, which will be posted at the end of this week on weather prospects for the eclipse next year. And let me tell you something about the weather prospects next year. I can't find any place that's any worse than or any better than anywhere along the eclipse track. A lot of people are saying, oh, I'm going to go to Texas. You know, Texas is not all that much better than a place like Indianapolis, Indiana. There really is no place in the United States that stands out for, you know, great weather. In fact, at this time of the year, Joe, as I said, because of those three storm tracks, the Colorado Low, the Alberta Clipper, and along the Atlantic seaboard, because of the those three storm tracks are so active in April. Next year for the eclipse, we could have anything from beautiful blue, clear skies along the entire eclipse path to probably the most miserable, rotten weather that you ever can imagine. Cloud cover, you could have rain, you could have snow, whatever. So basically, it's like when the Climate Prediction Center puts out a map and it has, like, you know, equal chances.
Right.
I would put a map out like that for next year for the eclipse for most places along the totality path, equal chances. Anyway, for our final city of the night, Charlotte, North. Wait a minute.
You did Charlotte.
Oh, look at that. He changed number 5 from Charlotte. Oh, okay. He put Charlotte down twice, and he sent me an update a short while after he sent me the first message. This is Scott Brilla now. He says change number 5 from Charlotte to Miami. Average high of Miami in April.
Gotcha. Miami. Oh, I don't know. 84.
Ta-da! Thank you, Joe.
84?
You hit it. You hit 84 degrees.
I swear, I just kind of just pulled it out of the top of my head. Miss Fowler, did it again. She's got Google. She's got Google. She's got to be Google. You're Googling it, Miss Fowler. You're Googling it. No cheating now. Yeah, 84. Okay. Well, I figured it had to be at least in the low 80s.
Well, Jackie Gleason probably would have known because he said Miami Beach was the greatest city in the world.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
You know, all things considered, that we now have 100 people watching. The very fact that we managed to get to 91 likes is in itself an accomplishment. Now, if we can get 9 more likes somehow, let's assume
it might be like it may be like pulling teeth tonight, just so you know.
Right. So I don't know if we'll do it. We're up to 93, 94. Maybe we might get to 100. And Miss Fowler says, can't Google that fast, switching between screens.
Okay, I was just teasing. But you should go play a lottery ticket, though, if you got those 3 in a row like that.
Absolutely. 95 likes.
I'm trying to think, was anything else that was going on? No. Not a thing. Not a thing.
I will say, here's a public service announcement. We're up to 98 likes, Joe. We did it! We did it!
We did.
100 likes. 101 likes.
All right, good. All right, that means I could go. I made my sausage pecan cornbread stuffing today for which was going to be my dinner, and I made a big pan of it, and I have to tell you, it's absolutely utterly delicious. So,
well, if you have no bell, Nick M says no bell. Now, according to you can't hear the bell. I'm ringing the bell. Does anybody here hear the bell? I'm ringing it right now.
I should get a bell because I got the mic here. I could just do ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
I've got a bigger bell upstairs, and in fact, that bell is made after the bell from the movie It's a Wonderful Life. It says every time a bell rings, an angel gets its rings. Christiapedia says you have noise-canceling headphones, I'm guessing. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Well, my mic is not working. I'm still waiting for my dongle, which I think I'm supposed to get tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest. But the sound seems to be good now that I figured out how to work this mic correctly.
Yeah.
The sound seems to be pretty good using it. Nobody's complained about it. Nobody's saying they can't hear me, so I'm assuming it's good. When I played the show back, it sounds fine. So have at it.
The public service announcement I was about to give was, in this person's opinion, one of the funniest television shows that I've ever seen is going to be shown at 8 o'clock Eastern time on Me TV. If you have Me TV, they are currently in the midst of running 2 hours worth of episodes from All in the Family from back in the early 1970s, more than 50 years ago. And at 8 o'clock tonight, they're going to run the episode where Archie meets Sammy Davis Jr. If you've ever seen that, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never saw it, you really ought to tune in if you have Me TV and watch it. It's a very, very funny, probably the funniest episode or one of the funniest that hit show from the 1970s ever did.
I've seen it many times.
Yes.
All right. So on that note, let's put an end to this, shall we?
Yes, surely.
Okay. And we will be back when, Joe?
Tomorrow, 7:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the Joe Cioffi YouTube channel with Joe and Joe.
The Joe and Joe Weather Show, which, of course, as we know, is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1125. Nowhere can you find better prices. The website is
OmniTrueValue.com.
All right. Hold on. Before you say goodnight, let me get back into the screen. Okay, say goodnight, Joe.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.